In our society, there are many problems in many ways, whether it's environmental problems, disease, or poverty. Meanwhile, there are many organizations that fix those problems. They're like heroes of the society. However, there are still people who help solving problems in the dark corner. The people who works behind and didn't get any benefits from helping society. People, I will let you know more about them in our show, The Giver. One day, if you become visually impaired, all of your world has only darkness. You are unable to see things, even though that thing might be so close to your eyes. You think that this is a nightmare, right? Soon you'll wake up from this nightmare, right? Unfortunately, this nightmare will be with you forever. Depressed, desperate, sadness, deep dive into the negative feelings. However, life needs to continue when you're thinking about the future. Which career doesn't need visual? Or even that job is capable, will people with visually impaired be able to do it? Because the visually impaired is just the beginning of the problem of the people with visually impaired. These people aren't just incapable of seeing, but they lose more opportunity, whether it's education or living like normal people. It affects some kids who have thought disorder. They think slower and some of them aren't assertive like normal people. These effects are side effects from their social surrounding. For instance, some of their parents don't let these kids do anything because they consider these kids as a disabled person. Moreover, they don't let these kids touch anything. It affects their muscle to have myasthenia, which they can't pick stuff like normal people. Now, you'll see that if we're talking about people with visually impaired, we're not talking about incapable of seeing. We're talking about their living, their mentality, and their future. What are these people capable of? And will they live in a society like normal people? While you're seeking these answers, I may add one more question. Do you think that people with visually impaired can take some photos? You might be curious about why I'm talking about taking photos. How do they even take some photos? I was curious about that too. Something has changed my thought and my perspective further. How do they even take photos, and what is my thought and my perspective that have changed? So before I answer those questions, let me show you the volunteer group หัวใจถ่ายภาพ หัวใจถ่ายภาพ a group of volunteers that has purpose to teach people visually impaired to have ability to take photos. The story of the beginning needs to rewind since 2010. Mr. Nopadon Panyaputikai, the chairman of the group หัวใจถ่ายภาพ, he has remarked from his teacher that he has been in the exhibition called ภาพถ่ายในโลกมืด from the foreigner, which is the exhibition of the photo taken by people with visually impaired.
ดูนิทรรศการภาพถ่ายจากโลกมืดที่ชาวต่างชาติเขาจัดแสดงแล้วอยากจะนำมาใช้ในเมืองไทยบ้างก็คือสอนคนตาบอดให้ถ่ายภาพแต่เราไม่รู้วิธีการเพราะฉะนั้นคุณนพดลก็เลยปิดตาตัวเองแล้วก็ลองใช้ชีวิตเป็นคนตาบอดอยู่
To understand how to teach people with visually impaired to take photos, Mr. Nopadon used his experience to teach the first generation volunteer teacher, making them on the same page when they teach what they need to begin with. After that, he expanded the group by recruiting volunteer teachers and training them. Then they started a trip teaching around the country. Start with people with visually impaired school in Bangkok. They give the opportunity to let this volunteer group to teach people with visually impaired. Why do they need to teach the people with visually impaired to take photos? What's the purpose of this? I believe that many people are curious like me.
เราก็บอกว่าเราต้องการให้เด็กมีความสุขแล้วก็ก้าวข้ามข้อบกพร่องเพราะว่าในเมื่อเขามองไม่เห็นแต่เขาสามารถถ่ายภาพได้เนี่ยมันจะเป็นความแรงบันดาลใจแล้วก็จะเป็นความสุขทางใจของเขาที่เขาได้ทำในสิ่งที่เขาไม่คิดว่าเขาจะทำได้
It will be the happiness in their mind and inspiration that they can do what they think they can't, or is impossible to them. Like what I've said, we're not talking about people who are incapable of seeing. We're talking about people who lost opportunity from the society. The purpose of the group หัวใจถ่ายภาพ isn't to teach people visually impaired to take photos like professionals.
การให้โอกาสหยิบยื่นโอกาสมันแข็งแรงและยั่งยืนมากกว่าการที่ไปหยิบยื่นความสงสารเข้าใจไหมคะแบบเราสงสารเราเอาเงินไปให้เราไปแบบให้เขาอย่างเดียวโดยที่เขาไม่มีโอกาสได้แสดงให้เห็นว่าเขาว่ามีศักยภาพคือเขาก็ไม่อยากเป็นภาระสังคมแหละถ้าเราให้โอกาสเขาค่ะ
They give them career and inspiration for learning, making them rely on themselves and not being burdened to the society. On the other hand, the volunteer teacher might not have the benefits from teaching, but it will discipline their mind.
บางครั้งเรามีดวงตาที่เห็นทุกอย่างแล้วเราก็ตัดสินทุกอย่างจากความรู้สึกหรือจากดวงตาของเราแต่อย่างเช่นน้าหญิงยกตัวอย่างเนาะน้าหญิงสงสารเด็กที่เราไปสอนคือเหมือนกับเราไปสอนเขาทุกครั้งเราก็จะมีความหดหู่ในใจสะสมไปเรื่อยๆว่าเราสงสารเขาเราสงสารเขาวันหนึ่งก็คิดว่าอาทิตย์หน้าเราไม่ไหวละเราขอเบรกตัวเองเราขอพักขอไม่มาสักสัปดาห์หนึ่งหรือช่วงระยะเวลาหนึ่งเพราะว่าเราสงสารเขามากแต่พอตอนที่เราจะกลับบ้านเนี่ยแล้วเด็กถามเราว่าเมื่อไหร่เราจะมาอีกแล้วเราก็ตอบแบบเลี่ยงไปว่าเดี๋ยวขอดูก่อนว่าจะมีเวลาแค่ไหนแล้วเด็กคนนั้นก็ตอบมาว่าพูดมาว่าไม่เป็นไรครูมาวันไหนก็ได้เพราะหนูตาบอดทุกวันประโยคนี้มันเป็นประโยคที่เปลี่ยนความรู้สึกเราเปลี่ยนความคิดเราเลยว่าการที่เราเห็นแล้วเราตัดสินว่าเขาน่าสงสารแต่จริงๆแล้วในมุมของเขาเนี่ยเขามีความสุขกับสิ่งที่เราหยิบยื่นโอกาสให้เขาอันนี้ก็คือเป็นการเปลี่ยนมุมมอง
However, being a volunteer teacher isn't a simple job because the group หัวใจถ่ายภาพ they never get benefits from teaching, so the expenses in their project need to be shared in a group and can't say no to this teaching project. Many times they will have to be with negativities of their own or even the kids, so we can say that the volunteer teacher made it by their heart. They don't have any purpose.Sacrifice whatever is time or money or stuff that volunteer of the group หัวใจถ่ายภาพ They aren't waste at all because of the result, which is the smile and the future of people with visually impaired. Some of them want to be a writer when they grow up. Some of them want to be a photographer like what they have learned. These activities push them forward and give them motivation to live like normal people.And according to the result, you can say that the objective of creating happiness and motivation of people with visually impaired from volunteer teachers has been accomplished. These people, the volunteer teacher from the group หัวใจถ่ายภาพ are someone who has changed my mind to the people with visually impaired, not just giving them happiness, but they give knowledge and understanding of the people with visually impaired to the society that they don't want money, but what they really want is opportunity and being treated as normal people because giving them opportunities is stronger and more sustainable than giving them empathy. Finally, I want to give to our audiences that are suffering in the life difficulty or dead end in life. Don't be hurried to judge even yourself and others. Because even the people with visually impaired can take photos when they get the opportunity.What about you? You have 32 organs in your body and ready for having the opportunity they don't. I hope this episode of The Giver will show you that in our world there is nothing impossible. It is up to you that how you can do what is impossible by using the opportunity you have. See you in the next episode and don't forget to subscribe our channel, The Giver. Goodbye.